All right, welcome everybody to another episode of the Health Movement Podcast. We have an awesome guest, which I need a lot of help from him. But before I introduce him, my name is Derek. I'm a certified personal trainer, teacher of over 20 years. We are not doctors, so please, any training or any advice you're taking from us, please consult your physician before you do anything else. But with us today, we have professional golfer David Carey coming out of Dublin, Ireland, which as my last name's O'Riordan, so I am half Irish. So I appreciate you hopping on with us. Thank you, David.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me.
So just as a softball question to start off with, tell us how you got into golf and what your journey's been like up until now.
Yeah, I remember having like little plastic clubs as a photo of me somewhere in my mom and dad's house. So I guess I was maybe 3 or 4 when I had them. I think I used to whack a little plastic ball around the house. Then that progressed to, playing with real clubs and real golf balls. I got a little bit older. But yeah, I played a lot of football, soccer, football, not your football as a kid. But so it used to very much be play soccer all winter and then golf in the summer. Then once I got to the age of around, I'm going to say about 12 or 13, that's where I kind of focused pretty much solely on golf from that point on.
I saw it looked like, was it 2015 you turned pro?
Yep, that's correct.
So was that 19 years old?
Yeah, I think I was still 18. I think it was, I want to say February or March in 2015.
Wow. At 18. How'd that decision come about? Was that a conversation with your parents, or did they kind of know this is where things were headed?
It was not a planned thing, really. So over here in Europe, we have what's called the Alps Tour. So it's like Division 3 for golf. So you have the DP Tour, you have the Challenge Tour, then you have the Alps Tour. And as an amateur, in December, they hold their qualifying school. So someone said it'd be a good idea to just kind of go for experience, go kind of try that out. And I ended up getting a card. My first hole-in-one ever at that event, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, but so the first couple of events were held in February time out in Egypt. So I went out to Egypt as an amateur and finished, it was either 5th or 6th and then 11th in the 2 events, and thought this pro golf thing's really easy and I should turn pro.
That's awesome, because I have a very different feeling when I think about golf.
It wasn't quite as easy as the first 2 events led me to believe, but
I gotcha.
That's kind of how we got going. My coach at the time, and then some of the people I took advice from, I asked them what they taught, and they said, if you want to be a pro golfer, be a pro golfer. And
Makes sense.
That's kind of how I got going.
That's awesome. And you're on TikTok. That's where I saw you. You were kind of talking with people as you were doing some practice swings and stuff, which I appreciate. I think that's awesome to give people like kind of a view into what your day is like, and that seems to have worked well for you to make connections that way.
Yes. So last year, I kind of had a bit of a nightmare year health-wise, in terms of I got really, really sick with a really bad virus, and then I picked up an injury because I tried to get back too quick from being.
Yep.
I did that whole cycle, and Caitlin, who you probably heard behind the camera, Caitlin is my girlfriend, and she comes out in the course with me, and she was taking videos for me to analyze my swing and what was happening. And as we were working our way back, we decided, well, we may as well do something. We had about, I don't know, 100 gigabytes worth of videos on my phone. So it was like, edit a few of them and, start posting them on some of the socials and stuff. Cause like I'd already had Instagram and stuff like that, but I'd never really actively tried to push that side of things. But
yeah,
TikTok is the one that took off. And then kind of recently enough, we started adding in some of the live stuff on top of that. And that's actually been doing amazing. Like, I think we had We were on for about 3 hours today, and we had about 80,000 viewers live,
Yeah, like every time I pop in, there are hundreds of people in there every time.
which is, and like you said, it's a kind of a two-sided thing. I tried answer some questions to help some people, and the flip side is it kind of holds me a bit accountable when I'm practicing as well. Because when you have a 3 or 4 foot putt, and there's 1,000 people watching, it just adds a little bit of extra incentive to make sure you make that putt. So it kind of
That's true, and honestly, that's probably helpful to replicate. You can't replicate like an actual match or a round
100%,
during a tour, but you're used to having people watching everything, so that's maybe it
100%,
translates a little bit.
100%. Plus, I can't go, throw my club down the fairway or and
Was
so.
that an issue early on in your career?
No, I wouldn't do that anyway. But just, but no,
Those even keeled Irishmen never lose their temper, so you're good.
oh, just level. But no, like
Always.
it's the whole thing. If if you want to be professional when you're competing, you need to be professional when you're practicing, and you should do that anyway. But if there's a few thousand people watching, it adds to the reasoning.
That's a good thing that I'm surprised not more people are doing. Because the engagement piece is cool. And your girlfriend does an excellent job of relaying questions to you and kind of allowing for a back and forth. Because otherwise, you can't really be looking at the phone while
Oh
you're
yeah,
playing. That's not going to keep your head in the right space.
yeah, exactly. And when people do ask me questions, 9 times out of 10, I probably answer with another question. But that's just because when I look at, you know, there's some really good stuff online, but there's also some really bad stuff online. And particularly when it comes to golf, there's no one size fits all approach. You can't just say to everybody, just do this and you'll get better at golf, because it really just
Yeah.
depends what your level is, what you're doing, what your issues are. So, you know, if I'm actually going to try help someone, I need to kind of ask a couple of questions and get an understanding of like what they need or what advice they need. Because like if someone said to me, I play once every 2 weeks, how do I get better? You're not gonna you can't really send them the same kind of messages if someone says, I play 5 days a week. Because the guy's
Yeah.
playing 5 days a week just has so much more time to change things. Whereas if you're playing once or twice a week, probably the best thing you can do is make better decisions and allow for the fact that there's going to be inconsistencies.
Yeah. That's a good point. I've been playing. I'll say I've been playing more this year than I ever have, and that's probably 5 or 6 times total this summer. So I'm more the once a week, once every other week guy. And I actually went out on Saturday with 2 other friends, and we decided to do just like a best ball all together, just to keep it more fun. The front nine, we were +1, so we were kind of excited. We were like, oh, that's not bad. Back nine, we were +10. So we ended I think at
Mm.
+11 with 3 people combined. We couldn't even, it was bad. It was, and we're spent by the end of it. So it's a
Golf,
long,
golf is not easy. That's
no,
the
no, it's definitely not. And if you've got to go 4 rounds in a week, in a weekend, like Thursday through Sunday, that's so actually that leads me into one of my questions is what's your training like for that? Or are you just doing so much golf you've built up your conditioning for that sport?
I think there's definitely different sides to it, because there's the strength and conditioning side to actually making a golf swing, which
Yep.
is very much in my case very much strength based. I've always been quite explosive and quite fast, so if I gain strength, I gain speed. I know that can be
Yeah,
different
definitely.
for different people. That can be, I know some people that are really strong that really have to do a lot of explosive exercises in the gym to get that kind of transfer. But for me, pretty much if I get stronger, it just kind of carries straight across in terms of, if I was trying to hit the ball further. But that's only one aspect, because like you said, there's then the endurance side of, you walk, I don't know, call it 10 kilometers or whatever that is, 6 or 7 miles every time you play around the golf. So, you know,
Yeah.
Thursday through Sunday is 4 rounds. You may have to do a pro am on Wednesday. You've probably done at least 9 more holes on the Monday or Tuesday. So you're walking a long way. So that's more of an endurance thing. I think that side of things is very much just playing lots of golf as opposed to specific gym training.
Yeah, no, and that makes sense. And I imagine like your off season. What's the golf season? It's like February around to I
Well,
forget when
there's
the
not
end is.
really an off season anymore. You kind of like if you want to play all year round, you can play all year round.
Oh, all right. So there's
So
no off season training then. You gotta.
like
What's
like
the
I
load management like? Because if you're strength training, you need recovery. You're not going to go lift heavy on a Thursday when you have all weekend you have to play. So, but you need to
I think
recover after playing. So, what's that
the
look like?
balance I found that works best is lifting heavy but with kind of low reps and low sets.
Okay, so
So try and not build up massive fatigue. Anything in the higher rep range, you start building up a bit more fatigue. I found a bit more soreness. So it is a fine balance though, because if you don't train when you're at events, like say you go 4, 5, 6 weeks on the road, if you don't do any training, if you do have 2 weeks off and you do lift heavy, then you get sore because you've been
that's
6 weeks
true.
without doing anything. So you kind of have to just try and do a little bit all the time. It's never going to be the absolute optimal for say muscle growth or anything like that, but
Yeah,
you, if you can get some stimulus and some growth, or at least maintain at the very least, then you can push it a little bit harder when you come back without getting the extreme soreness or anything like that.
that's good. Was that a difficult thing to kind of figure out a balance in terms
It was
of
very much,
trying to get
very much,
stronger?
very much trial and error.
Y- Do you feel like you're in a good place now and have figured that out?
um, yeah, I mean, you're
And
always making,
obviously we can always learn. Like
well,
you're always growing. But
you're always trying to make little adaptations, or learning little lessons as you go of how much to do of one thing and the other. Like weirdly, what I find is if I do one really heavy set of, say, I don't know, say dumbbell chest press, some rows, and maybe like a something for the legs, so maybe like a leg press, whatever I do. If I do like a small session like that today, I'll be faster tomorrow.
yeah,
It kind of basically wakens up all of the fast twitch muscle fibers. You get a lot of stimulus that you actually go faster. If I did 3 sets of everything, I'll be slower because I'll be fatigued. So there is
yeah.
definitely balance between priming your body for that kind of the explosiveness, because like the golf swing is a very quick explosive kind of motion, um and so your training kind of has to reflect that.
Oh yeah. Have you dealt with injuries in your career?
I've been quite lucky overall that I've never had any major issue.
Uh,
Like the last few weeks, I had a little bit of a niggly hip thing, but it was like it. At no point could I not have played around the golf if I had to. If it was more of a the muscles were tight and I needed a physio to go dig into me and hurt me for an hour to kind of just loosen, which is one of those things where it's very unenjoyable at the time, but afterwards you're going to feel a lot better. So, it took
yeah.
two or three sessions of that. Weirdly, like I have no scientific backing to this, but I made a change in my golf shoes, and that seems to have sorted a lot of it. I went back to an older pair that was like less, how would I call it? Like less flexible. It's much more kind of solid and rigid. And I think that's provided a little bit of extra stability and has taken some pressure off the.
That's a huge thing there. I'm dealing with Achilles tendonitis, and I told you I teach and I paint a couple houses during the summer, and being on a ladder is the worst thing apparently for because your foot's there. But also, I had been buying my sneakers off the sale rack at Kohl's because I don't care. I'm like, I'm not gonna, just give me the cheap stuff. These look good. I'll be fine. And then I knew I needed orthotics, so I'd buy the cheap ones off Amazon, slide it in. And then my physical therapy had a stern talking to me where she's like, no,
Mhm.
you need to go. You need to get like your feet checked and get actual shoes that fit the way your feet, because mine roll in, so you got to spend a little more. But the foot support fixes, in theory, everything from, it's where your body hits the ground. So if that's rolled in or if that's displaced a little bit, the repercussions are tough.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, I was lucky enough to work with some good people down in the Orlando area who I learned an awful lot from in terms of training, recovery, the physio side of things. And like, I used to get a little bit of a niggly thing on my left knee, which I'd always put down to I'd had a football injury there when I was a kid. But,
Yeah.
you know, I worked with them, and in like 2 sessions, they're able to tell me it was basically that the sole of my foot, some of the muscles got tight, and then that tightened up my calf muscle. And then I also had some tightness in like my abductor area. And once they loosened all them out, 100%, no issues. It was literally like either side of the knee was being pulled at the same time, and that was the discomfort. But until you actually learn what causes things, you kind of think, I feel it in the knee, it must be the knee.
Yeah, well, that's exactly. And it's not like that's where the pain settles. But like my Achilles is based in a tight calf that I have that goes
Yeah.
all the way up to where it meets the hamstring. So
Hmm.
when I go in, that's what they work. They don't ever really touch the Achilles much except to try to break up whatever, I don't know, it's not scar tissue, but whatever it is down there. But you're right, like it leads to it. What about nutrition wise? I imagine being on the road, you could stop at McDonald's or someplace like that every meal.
No, no, no. Like we can't do McDonald's. Like I'm much more of like an in and out kind of guy.
Nice, nice. Well played. Well played.
But you definitely like. It really just depends. When you're traveling, you kind of have to go with what's. There's definitely the balance of the nutrition with the like convenience and how much time do I have and when am I going again and stuff like that. So definitely, I definitely try to prioritize kind of the protein intake, because like if you're
Yeah.
doing anything physical, you need to have enough protein. Supplement wise, I always have creatine. So if I can get those two basics, then you just try your best to try and make it somewhat balanced from there.
I get you.
So
Oh, creatine. When you mentioned that, I was listening to a another podcast today, and for me, it had always been like 5 is it grams. I think that's the unit of measurement. Is that what you're taking right
yeah,
now? Is it the 5 grams?
I
She was
probably take
talking about. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I probably take a little more. I probably take more like 7 to 8 grams a day would be my general.
Okay, yeah, that apparently like creatine's used in the brain as well. Muscles
Mhm.
steal the first part of it, and then the leftover stuff your brain uses. So the woman was saying she's a doctor and she was hopping on oh, I think the Diary of the CEO podcast, which is a pretty big one. They go for a while, and she like bases her intake based around her day. Like if she does a heavy workout or if she's gonna like high stress levels, more creatine helps. So she'll go up to like 10 grams of it on days, 10 to I think 15, she said. But it was a lot of like trial and error and figuring out what worked for her. But
I
it's
think
helpful.
I think I saw a thing recently enough that Rory McIlroy said he did 10 grams twice a day was his,
Wow.
and which is quite a high dose.
Yeah, it is. But also you guys are active. Like it's not like an hour in the gym,
But
it's
100% that like I know they've done studies to show that particularly in older people it can really help with memory and brain function. So you're 100% right.
Yeah, it's huge
Not
with brain function. And
it's
I
not
think a lot of the research now coming out is reflecting that, whereas most times people think it's just for muscles, and it's not a steroid for anybody who's listening and you're wondering, not a steroid at all. It's produced in the liver and in the brain. But I think it was like 3 milligrams, 3 to 4 a day your body produces. So the added part goes to your muscles and then to your brain. So yeah, it is helpful. It's definitely helpful. But again, we're not physicians, so go see your doctor before changing anything.
Mhm.
Um, So I wanted to do a quick little game with you here, if you don't
Okay.
mind. I'm putting you on the spot. This is
Okay.
going to be completely blind. You don't know what's coming, but I want you to rank your favorite golf courses
Okay.
without knowing the next one coming. So we'll do. I'll pick five,
Okay.
and you just label them 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5. All right. Um, Killeen Castle. I saw one of your reels where you played there.
Okay. Well, it would have been higher before last week, but I didn't play so good there. So I'll have to, naturally we only like courses we play well at, so we have to
There you
drop.
go.
I'm gonna put that. I mean, something has to be 5, doesn't it? So we'll put that 5.
Something does.
Something has to be 5, and but I'm hoping it's only going to be 5 because you've picked 4 excellent courses because it is a very good course as well. So
All right, that is 5. I'm going to tell you the 9-hole pitch and putts I play out of the other 4. So I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right, next one. St. Andrews. I have to put in here.
number 1.
Number 1. All right. TPC Colorado. Is that one you've played?
I have. That is a good course, but I like the. I'm gonna go 4. Number 4 on that one.
4. All right. All right. The next 2, Pebble Beach. I got to put that in there.
I'm
You
gonna
have
go
2 and 3 left.
number 3 for Pebble.
All right. Augusta National.
I knew that was gonna be next.
It had to. That was an obvious one.
I have to say, I'm quite happy with how this has ended up.
All right, that's good. That's good. Now, if I were to put in, I don't know this one. I saw it in one of the reels. Portmarnock.
Oh,
Is that pronounced right?
Portmarnock. Yeah, that's not down the road for me. Yeah, that's in Dublin. Oh, that's a really good golf course.
I was gonna. Is that like a home course of yours? That's like your jam?
No, I luckily probably play it maybe once a year, but it's
Okay.
it's gonna have the Open in a few years' time. It's exceptionally good golf course. I would probably rate it the number 1 in Ireland. So I
Okay.
probably that probably would make the list at number 3, I think, from what you've mentioned so far.
All right. All right. So good to know. I've been to Ireland a couple times, but it has been a long time since I've been there. My last name's O'Riordan, and we found an O'Riordan Cafe on Dingle Peninsula, which actually was closed at the time. And it was me, my mother, and my sister, and we knocked on the door, and the owners came up. We said who we were. We're from America. They opened the place up, fired up the grill. It was an awesome experience. So definitely need to get back. But if you were to give a recommendation for which course to play in Ireland, if I could only play one.
Well, I'm going to be slightly biased to the kind of Dublin area just because that's where I'm from and that's where I
That's
live. So
okay. That's okay.
you would probably go with Portmarnock.
Okay.
But I mean, it is a tough question because we have so many good golf courses.
All right. So I'll have to make a 2-week trip and just play a different one each day.
Oh yeah, I'd love to say I knew the total number off the top of my head, but I think considering we have like between the north and the south of Ireland, a population of like say 6 million people, I think we have like 200 golf courses or something.
Wow. That seems out of proportion right there to have that many golf courses.
I think we're the only country in the world where even people that don't play golf play golf.
Oh yeah.
Like even people that don't really play will probably play once or twice a year.
Oh, that's good though. It keeps you healthy, stays outdoors. Americans are not, there are plenty that just aren't active at all. So it's good that the Irish are getting out there and doing that.
I think there was a Swedish study. I think now I don't know any of the I don't know the exact specifics of how they tested or how many people are that, but I think they found that golfers on average lived something like 7 years longer than non-golfers.
Really?
Yeah. And
Huh.
I mean, I can definitely see that as there's two aspects to that. A is fresh air, you're outside, all that side of thing. But
Walking. Yep.
in my experience, like the amount of older golfers I meet that, you'll say to them, what are you doing? Oh no, Monday I have to be here. Monday I play with the group of guys and stuff. And I think there's definitely the community aspect to things that kind of keeps people going, in that like, no, I have to be back home on Monday because I need to play with Jimmy and John or whoever.
Yeah.
So just one of those random things that I read somewhere. Someone else can go and fact check how good the study was and all the stuff, but I'll
Oh,
just
we're
throw it
gonna
out there.
trust you on that one. David said it's 100% true, so we're gonna go with that one.
Yeah. If you're not playing golf, you should be. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, it's true. But you're right with the social piece. There's a lot of research done that the benefits mentally in just in longevity of socializing and being around other people. So
100%.
that's good. Now, if and obviously you can't fix my slice because you've never seen me swing. But if there's do you see like common mistakes that people make in their golf game?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
Can I put you on the spot for like 3 common mistakes people make?
yeah. So like probably 8 golfers out of 10 that, particularly like, your average guy that plays once a week, will slice the ball as opposed to hook it.
100%.
Um,
100%. So the aiming to the more to the left is not a correct fix to fix my slice?
well, you see, again, because like with everything golf, the answer is going to be yes or no. Like if it slices the same amount every time and you can aim 30 yards left and it goes where you want it to go, then yes, that's an answer. But you're you just have to accept you're not fixing the root cause of the issue, and
Yes.
it's a kind of
Yeah.
it's
No.
it's a band-aid solution as opposed to actually fixing it. But again, if you play once every 2 or 3 weeks, you are not going to be able to fix the root cause, because any kind of meaningful change is going to take hundreds or thousands of repetitions until you actually ingrain a movement change. It's the same as same as if you're doing gym work. If you go to the gym once, you're not going to fix anything. It's the consistency and repetitive doing the same things over and over, even if it's a bit boring, that will actually fix things.
Yeah. So what causes the slice? Is that the rotation on the ball because the club head's coming across it, or what's
So yeah, at its most basic, either the club head is cutting across the ball or the face is wide open, or more than likely a little bit of both. So open would be because you know it's like 90%, but we can basically say the ball starts with a club face points.
with the
More
ball starts with what?
wherever the club face is pointing, that's where the ball will start.
Okay.
It varies a little bit depending on the club, but more or less that is a true statement. So if you start the ball dead straight and the ball then slices, you can pretty much say for sure that your club face was pointed at the target at impact, and it was then the direction that your club was traveling that caused that curvature.
Okay. That
Whereas if
makes
your
sense.
ball starts right and then slices, then we can then also kind of work backwards that your club face was pointing way offline, and that is why the ball has gone over there. So that's kind of a very basic way of kind of maybe figuring out a little bit of, again, if you're consistently starting it right and it slices, well, I better figure out a way to point this club a little bit more left when I get back to impact. Again, that's not the root cause, but that very much is, if you're on the course and you've hit 5 drives on a row to the right, at some point I am going to say, please, for the love of God, hit one down the left and figure out a middle ground.
Yes. Yeah, no, I hear you on that one. I
Please,
hear you on that one.
please,
All
please
right.
do something different.
So, yeah, you can't keep doing the same thing and expect it to go differently. Yes.
Exactly. At some point, even if you're overcorrect, and overcorrection gives you more information of, okay, somewhere I'm in the middle now, I'm going to figure it out.
That works. That works. And then all right, so that's one, the slice, which I'm guilty of. Are there any others that you can think of off the top of your head?
So, another really common thing I see is people how's the best way to put this? They get really careful on the golf course to the extent that, the more careful we are with a shot, in no way guarantees the ball is going to go straighter or more where we want it to be. We need to treat the golf swing as an athletic motion. And it should, your setup, how you approach it, everything about that needs to be athletic. You know, there is a weight shift, there's a lot of turning. If I just turn less and get really static and stiff, we're killing our golf swing. We're killing our ability to create speed, and we'll end up probably having to try do something really strange at impact to try and generate club speed. Whereas if we actually, for lack of better words, give away some of the control and actually make a bigger motion, it'll actually be much easier to control in the long run.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. I picked up, you were just talking about club speed and all that. I got a Garmin R10. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but I picked one of those up and I had a net in the backyard off of Amazon, and I was playing around a golf yesterday. And I need to figure something else out because I put a golf ball through the net on the seam into the neighbor's yard, and thankfully it didn't break anything, but I heard it hit a tree and I was like, oh, this probably isn't a good idea. But anyway, it would come up with like club speed and all that. And like, I see numbers. I don't know what any of that means, or like what's good, what's bad. But like, do you know driver club speed as opposed to like wedge? Like, what's a good speed for somebody?
Well, again, it's going to depend a little bit on your level and all those different things. But a rough idea of some of the averages would be that on the PJ Tour, if you go back a few years, it used to be 130 miles an hour club speed was the average, but it's been ticking up about a mile an hour per year for the last handful of years. So I think we're now at like 116 or 17 is the average.
116 or 117?
Something in that ballpark. If you were to take the top 10 in the world, it's a bit quicker because by and large, the best players in the world hit it a little bit further. That's just kind of how that works. On the LPGA Tour, so for any ladies out there, I think the tour average is kind of somewhere in the 90s, lowish 90s is the average. So, you know, realistically, for your amateur golfer, if you swing it over 100, you're pretty much in the quick bracket.
Okay. All right. I got some work to do. I think I was in
That
the
is with
90s,
that is with
didn't hit
driver.
100.
That is with
Yeah,
driver.
yeah, yeah, I figured that was the driver.
I would also throw into that though that if you take the long drive guys, I they keep pushing it, so I don't know where it is, but I know I have seen a video of some of those guys cracking out about 160.
160, like 60?
160 club speed. So
Wow.
now I say this to people quite well semi often is that yes, they are not professional golfers in the sense of competing and playing in tournaments, but generally they're all normally scratch golfers, whatever, because you can't hit a ball that far without being able to hit the middle. And if you can hit the middle at that
Yeah.
speed, you normally be athletic and everything else. But that kind of shows to me that is what a human's potential is
Okay.
to generate speed wise. So, by and large, most pro golfers are pretty slow. If you know what I mean. Relative human potential is. But it is a little bit like comparing the 100-meter sprint time of a marathon runner to a sprinter. They're
Yeah,
kind of different.
okay. That
But, to me, what it signals is that, you know, from a pros game side of the things, the young guys coming out are just going to keep getting faster because the potential is there. We're nowhere near reaching the limit. So, you know, I kind of average between 128 and 132 myself, which puts me as one of the
wow.
longest pros in the world. But like, there are going to be more and more guys pushing towards that 140 mark. Like, I, that's what's coming. That's what's coming next. So,
And
like,
is that based on like more knowledge in terms of training, nutrition, recovery, all that?
I think A little bit of that. I think when I was a kid, I was always really interested. I'm a very mathsy type of person, so I've always been very interested in statistics and numbers and stuff. And Mark Broadie is a stats guy. He came up with a lot of the golf stats stuff, and he wrote a book called Every Stroke Counts. And his underlying message was that the number one measure of a golfer's potential is how far they hit the ball.
Huh.
Across all handicap levels, there is a direct correlation. The further you hit the ball, the lower your handicap will be.
I mean, it does make sense. If you can hit 350 and the greens at 400, you're chipping 40 or 50
Yeah.
as opposed to then having to.
Like,
That's
obviously, there's a few other aspects to it, but yeah, if you hit it 180 yards and you can't reach the green in two, you're going to not score as well as someone hitting a wedge. It's just kind of a little bit of common sense. But,
yeah,
you know, it definitely, between that and a coach I had when I was younger who just told me hit as hard as I could and we'll straighten you up later on, I very much took those two things to heart. And, I wasn't always the straightest hitter of the ball when I was a kid, but it went a long way. So then as I got a bit better at golf, I learned better to control it. But, it's kind of like, it's like having a really big engine in a car. If you have the big engine and the power, you can kind of improve everything else. But if you have a 1 liter engine in there, you're never really going to get
yeah.
anywhere.
There's only so much you're doing. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. And I did have one more question for you, and this stemmed from playing on Saturday. I wanted to get a video of my swing to have you analyze it, but I don't want to. I don't actually have it ready to pull up, which is probably better for everybody involved. But my buddy he got fitted for clubs, got a brand new set of clubs, and he probably went from driving on average like 2 to 215. He hit one 285.
Mhm.
It is Are clubs able to make that much of a difference? I mean, that was his longest. He's probably hitting on average about 250 with the new clubs.
So again, it does depend a little bit on just how far away your current set are from your
Yeah,
ideal.
they were borrowed from somebody else who's a little taller and
So 100%, if you have a set that's just completely wrong for you, there is really no way of knowing. You could just gain an awful lot of distance. Like personally for me, because I'm always kind of being fit, or at least I'm keeping an eye on stuff myself, like you got the best club builder here with the best club fitter and stuff. Maybe we eke out like 5 yards because I'm
yeah,
already pretty much optimal in what I'm using. So it will depend a little bit. I think more so than even like purely the distance side of things. Like if you're like golf clubs are built to try and meet the needs of the average person. That they're going to aim at the middle of the bell curve. So the
yeah,
closer you are to the middle of the bell curve in terms of height, speed, all those things, the better the chance that if you buy something off the rack, it'll fit you. If you're a
yeah,
big, strong guy with a load of speed, you're probably going to need some clubs built a bit longer because you're really tall, or if you're really strong, then you're unfortunately probably going to have to pay a little bit more to get you know, the upgraded shafts and stuff because by and large, the reason they're more expensive is because they can get more stable, stronger material at the same weight, and that's more expensive. Just like carbon fiber in a car versus, using plastic or aluminium or whatever. So, if you're a really strong guy, you're probably going to have to pay more. If you're swinging at 85 miles an hour, you're not going to see the benefits because you don't need that extra stiffness and stuff. So, I do recommend everyone gets fitted. I don't think you need to go and spend $1,000 on a driver though. Even if you just figure out your basic specs, you can still figure out from there. You know what? There's a sale on at PJ Superstore. They're selling off last year's driver. It just so happens it has the right shaft in it for me, or something pretty close. You don't have to buy the most expensive gear. You can get stuff secondhand. Like there's some really good deals we found on like eBay. do be really careful. There is counterfeit stuff. There is fake stuff. Try look at the sellers' reviews and ratings and all
Yeah.
that sort of. But like you can find stuff in your specs that maybe someone else used and didn't like, or maybe you'll like there are guys out there who'll just buy the new driver every time it's released, even if it doesn't go further. They want the new shiny toy.
Yeah. I get it.
I get people like new shiny toys, but you can capitalize on that. But you know, you absolutely need to make sure the club is at least the right length and the lie angle. Lie angle is literally the angle the shaft comes out of the head is correct. If those two things are wrong on your irons and stuff, you're just going to end up making compensations and stuff to allow for that, and it's going to hinder your ability to get better because you don't know what's your fault or what's the club's being wrong for you.
So what I'm hearing from you is I can blame my clubs for all of my
Oh,
bad shots. All right. Done. Done. David
hey,
Carey said it so.
in my world, the phrase we use is ABC. Always blame the caddy.
I'll ABC and always blame the clubs. I'll do that.
Exactly, it works too. Although
Yes.
I think, in fairness, I think when you do have a caddy on the bag, you kind of universally will end up to agree that if it's a distance error, you can blame the caddy. If it's a line error, he didn't have much to do with that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. Well, David, I really, really appreciate you taking the time to hop on here with me. Definitely an easy conversation to have. I appreciate your knowledge and everything.
No problem at all. That was fun.
And if you ever find yourself in Massachusetts and you want to feel real good about your golf game, we'll go play around together.
It's okay. I think by the looks of you, we can call by the gym on the way back, and then you'll feel really good about your lifting.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. If you enjoyed it, please give a follow. David, how do people get in touch with you? Is TikTok the best way?
Yeah, TikTok's probably the best. You'll find me pretty much everywhere if you just search at David Carey Golf. I think it's at David Carey Golf 57 on YouTube, but I'm pretty sure you still find me if you just look up David Carey Golf.
All right. Well, I'll find you. I'll throw all the links in the description and everything so people can and check out your stuff. And I honestly, it's a good watch. He's always on there. He's very, very engaging with the audience. So you can definitely see David a lot more. So, all right. Well,
Perfect. Thanks,
thank
man.
you again, everybody. I appreciate you all stopping in. And David, thank you for taking the time.
No problem at all.